I'm not hearing the message, but that's because I've got the speaker muted. Okay. Again, recognize this as a polynomial. You could expand it. You get x cubed plus 5x squared plus 2x minus 8. Everybody, I think, knows how to expand this. You can immediately figure out the y-intercepts, which occur when x equals 0. And I haven't written that out, but y-intercept occurs when x equals 0. So if you plug 0 in for x, you're going to get 0 plus 4 and 0 minus 1, 0 plus 2. That's going to multiply out to negative 8. Meaning that on the graph of this function, the y-intercept is going to be at the point 0, negative 8. So that point's going to be on your graph. You also have the zeros of the function. Obviously, if x is negative 4, then x plus 4 is going to give you 0, which will mean the whole thing is 0, so that the y value is 0. So where x equals negative 4, you're going to have a point on the graph. Similarly, if x is 1, this is going to be 0, so you're going to have a point there. If x is negative 2, you're going to have a 0, you're going to have a point here. Using the large X behavior, the N behavior, the far right, far left behavior, whatever it's called, we know when x gets big, y is going to get really big. If x is positive and really big, since you have 3 of these, you're going to be multiplying 3 really big numbers, which gives you a large value of x, so that this thing is going to very quickly rise up and become nearly vertical after you go through this last 0 to the right. And to the left of the last 0, going in the negative direction, you're going to have 3 really large negative numbers, which will multiply out to a really huge negative number. Very quickly, the y values are going to be negative and they're going to get really big. So there we have it. Now, what would you do if you were just given the expanded form and didn't know how it factored? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, it's kind of a preview, but it's worth understanding. If you understand it now, it'll save you some time later. It's worth coming back to. But to factor this, what you do is you plug in easy values of x and hope one of them gives you 0. That means what's the easiest number x that you could put in here and evaluate this polynomial very quickly? It's not, you're not going to use 0 because 0 would give you negative 8 and that wouldn't help. Okay. What's a number that you could plug in here that you would hope could give you 0? What's the next easiest number to plug in for x other than 0? Show me. Yeah, 1, right? You plug in 1 and you get 1 here, you get 5 here, you get 2 here, that adds up to 8. Subtract 8, you get 0, right? So we just lucked out. The easiest number to plug in is 1, and it worked. Well, that won't always happen, but it does. And of course, knowing where this came from, we know that 1 is a 0, right? But this assures that if you plug a 0 in here, you're going to get 0. Okay, so easiest value is x equals 1, gives you 0. This means that x minus 1 has to be a factor. And again, we know that x minus 1 is a factor, but if we didn't know all this, how could we use that fact? Well, if x minus 1 is a factor, that means it divides into this evenly. So we do a long division. Now, you might be rusty in long division of polynomials. You should have seen it by now, but if you didn't, Open Math is going to give you very explicit instructions. If you practice and understand the instructions, you're going to be able to do it, but here's the process. And let me actually work this out. And you're always welcome to tell me that the projector isn't on. Give the projector a minute to come up. Okay, I'm dividing x minus 1 into x cubed plus 5x squared plus 2x minus 8. Well, I divide x into x cubed and I get x squared. Then I multiply this by x squared, just like long division you learned in 5th grade. And forgot because you never got to use it again. Multiplying x squared by x minus 1, we get x cubed minus x squared. We change the signs of these because we know that after you get this, you subtract it from what's up here. So we subtract the x cubed minus x squared, meaning we add negative x cubed negative x cubed gives us 0, 5x squared, and adding x squared gives us 6x squared. Bring down the 2x, divide x into 6x squared, we get 6x. Multiply this, we get 6x squared minus 6x. So we put the little minus here, the little plus here to remind us. Well, you see that I've done all that over here. And I don't have room to write out the last step. But I wanted to show you, other than just by pointing what happens. If you add the 2x and the 6x, you're going to get this 8x. You're going to bring down this minus 8. Divide x into 8x, you get 8. Multiply this out, and it matches up. So when you subtract this, you get 0, so you have no remainder. That's the process. Now there are some subtleties to the process. Sometimes you have powers of x that are missing, and you've got to be a little careful about that. But having done that, you know that this is equal to this times this. And just like if you divide 2 into 8 and get 4, well, that's because 2 times 4 equals 8. This divided into this gives you this, because this times this gives you this. That means that this expression is product of x minus 1 here and x squared plus 6x plus 8 here. Then you can factor this. This is easy to factor. X plus 4 times x plus 2. Now, hopefully you know how to factor. I think we have some exercises in factoring, but it's something that we kind of assume you know how to do, because we do find that usually people who have been through the prerequisite courses, those courses have kind of emphasized factoring trinomials, and people tend to do pretty well with it. Okay, well, there it is, one way or the other. Okay, so that's one thing that I just wanted to be sure we went over.